Lately, the channel has a lot of assets. You can subscribe to the channel, thereby greatly help its promotion and raise the asset. Thank you. In 2014, in a quaint town in Iowa, Alex was a budding musician struggling to make ends meet. Although deeply attached to his cherished guitar, Alex decided to sell it on an online platform called Craigslist. Placing an advertisement, Alex patiently awaited a potential buyer to reach out. A few days later, a message arrived from a person named Ryan expressing interest in purchasing the guitar. Alex agreed to meet Ryan at a nearby lakeside park to complete the transaction, secretly hoping that Ryan would turn out to be a kindred spirit who appreciated music. Upon arriving at the park, Alex spotted Ryan seated on a bench. Clad in a leather jacket and sporting sunglasses, Ryan exuded an air of cool confidence. Alex approached him and initiated a friendly greeting, asking, "Hi, are you Ryan?" Ryan responded affirmatively, extending a hand in a handshake. "Yeah, that's me. And you must be Alex." "Nice to meet you," he said. "Pleasure to meet you too." "So here's the guitar," Alex replied, showcasing the instrument. "It looks fantastic. Mind if I give it a try?" Ryan inquired. "Of course, go ahead," Alex consented, offering the guitar to Ryan. Ryan skillfully plucked the strings, displaying his musical prowess. He played a few chords and riffs, wearing a smile of approval. "It's a good guitar. Sounds great. How long have you had it?" Ryan inquired. "I've owned it for about 2 years. My dad gave it to me as a gift. He's a musician as well," Alex shared. "Really? That's awesome. What genre of music do you play?" Ryan asked. "I mostly play rock and blues. I'm part of a band with a few friends, and we occasionally perform at local bars and clubs," Alex revealed. "That's fantastic. I love rock and blues too." "I actually play the drums," Ryan said. "Wow, that's really cool. Perhaps we could jam together sometime," Alex suggested. "Yeah, maybe," Ryan responded. Engaging in conversation, they exchanged tales and opinions about music. Alex felt content and at ease, believing he had met a genuinely pleasant person who might even become a friend. Unbeknownst to him, Ryan gradually closed in on Alex until his breath was felt on Alex's neck. Startled and fearful, Alex asked, "Hey, what are you doing?" Without warning, Ryan seized Alex by the throat, exerting intense pressure. Gasping for air and attempting to resist, Alex found himself overpowered as Ryan swiftly delivered a punch to his face, rendering him unconscious. Collapsing to the ground, Alex lay in an unconscious state as Ryan swiftly snatched the guitar and made a hasty escape, disappearing into the distance. As Alex regained consciousness, a throbbing pain pulsated through his head. Moaning, he gingerly touched his bruised cheek, struggling to gather his bearings. The gravity of the situation sank in, and a surge of anger and frustration coursed through Alex's veins. How could someone he had believed shared his passion for music, a fellow musician, suddenly turn violent? Realizing he needed to take swift action to retrieve his treasured guitar and bring Ryan to justice, Alex summoned every ounce of determination. With a determined grimace, Alex staggered to his feet and surveyed his surroundings. While the park remained mostly deserted, a few individuals could be spotted in the distance. Navigating his way towards them, Alex called out for help, recounting the harrowing encounter. The bystanders swiftly sprang into action, contacting the authorities and providing their contact information as potential witnesses. Soon, the police were alerted, launching a search for Ryan and the stolen guitar. Days turned into weeks, during which Alex tirelessly collaborated with the police, providing any pertinent information that could aid in locating the thief. He recounted every detail of his encounter with Ryan, hopeful that it would lead to his apprehension. The local news caught wind of the story, spreading awareness about the stolen guitar and urging the community to assist. Alex's unwavering determination bore fruit when a tip arrived from a music store owner across town. The proprietor claimed to have encountered someone resembling Ryan attempting to sell a guitar that closely resembled Alex's stolen instrument. The police promptly pursued the lead, converging on Ryan at the store. Trapped and devoid of an escape route, Ryan's initial confidence crumbled as he faced the consequences of his actions. The police successfully recovered Alex's guitar, which Ryan had pawned for quick cash. Subsequently, Ryan was arrested and charged with assault and theft. Relieved to have his beloved instrument back in his possession, Alex experienced a whirlwind of emotions. The incident shattered his trust in strangers, particularly those who shared his passion for music. However, it also reinforced his resilience and unwavering determination to pursue his dreams. It was the summer of 2017 in California. A man named David decided to sell his smartphone through an online marketplace. He placed an advertisement, and shortly after, a potential buyer expressed interest. They exchanged messages and agreed to meet at a local shopping center. David arrived at the designated meeting spot, feeling a mixture of nerves and excitement about the sale. He spotted a young man sitting on a bench, engrossed in his phone. David approached him and introduced himself, confirming that he was there to sell the phone. They negotiated the price, and the buyer appeared satisfied with the deal. While finalizing the transaction, David suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. He glanced down and saw that the buyer had brandished a knife and attacked him. Shocked, David attempted to defend himself, but the assailant overwhelmed him. The attacker repeatedly stabbed David, snatched the phone, and swiftly fled, leaving David severely wounded and bleeding on the ground. Passers-by witnessed the incident and promptly called emergency services. Within minutes, paramedics arrived and rushed David to the hospital. His condition was critical, necessitating emergency surgery to save his life. Devastated by the news, his loved ones prayed for his recovery. Meanwhile, the authorities initiated a search for the perpetrator who assaulted David. By reviewing surveillance footage from the shopping center, they successfully identified the assailant. A few days later, the suspect, known as Jason, was apprehended and taken into custody. Jason was a young man with a troubled past. Jason had a history of drug addiction and had encountered multiple encounters with law enforcement. Financially desperate, he saw an opportunity to obtain quick cash by targeting David's phone. However, he had not anticipated the violent turn of events and acted impulsively. As the investigation progressed, it emerged that Jason had been involved in several prior criminal activities. He possessed an extensive criminal record and was considered a dangerous offender. His trial was scheduled for the following year, and David was summoned as a witness to testify against him. On the day of the trial, David was still recuperating from his injuries. Though nervous, he remained resolute in seeking justice. Taking the witness stand, he recounted the harrowing experience of being attacked by Jason, reliving the terror he had endured. His testimony carried great weight, persuading the jury of Jason's culpability. Jason received a prison sentence of 25 years, bringing a sense of closure for David. While he faced a long road to recovery, David felt grateful for his survival and the unwavering support of his loved ones. Over the subsequent years, David devoted himself to rebuilding his life. He secured a new job and encountered the love of his life, a woman named Sophia. They fell deeply in love and eventually married in 2021, 4 years after the assault. Reflecting on the experience, David realized that it had profoundly transformed him. He developed a heightened appreciation for life and vowed to never take anything for granted. Furthermore, he became an advocate for victims of violent crimes, using his own experience to raise awareness and promote safety. Ultimately, David emerged from the ordeal stronger and more determined than ever. He triumphed over a traumatic event, finding love and happiness in the process. While the attack constituted a dark chapter in his life, it also imparted valuable lessons and shaped him into a better individual. On a sunny summer afternoon in 2013, Jane and her spouse Mark were planning to sell their old smartphones. To find a potential buyer quickly, they'd opted for an online platform similar to Craigslist. Several interested buyers responded to their ad, but they eventually settled on a man named Tyler Ronald Stewart, who appeared enthusiastic about purchasing the phones and agreed to meet them in person. The couple arranged a meeting with Tyler at a local park, choosing a location where they felt secure and visible. Upon their arrival, they noticed a young man standing near a tree, clutching a phone while anxiously surveying the surroundings. Approaching him cautiously, they were startled when Tyler swiftly drew a gun from his pocket, aiming it directly at them. Paralyzed by fear, Jane and Mark were unable to react or move. In a trembling yet resolute voice, Tyler demanded their phones and wallets, threatening to shoot if they failed to comply. Jane and Mark, desperate to ensure their safety, promptly handed over their belongings, hoping it would satisfy him. However, Tyler's greed knew no bounds. He intensified his threats, coercing them to surrender more valuables under the threat of violence. Consumed by terror, the couple relinquished everything they had on them. Seizing the items, Tyler fled, disappearing into the nearby woods. Shaken and traumatized, Jane and Mark immediately contacted the police, who swiftly arrived at the scene. They provided a detailed account of the incident, prompting the authorities to launch a thorough investigation. Through the aid of surveillance footage and witness testimonies, the police successfully identified Tyler as one of the assailants. They apprehended him and pressed charges, accusing him of assault and armed robbery. During the subsequent trial, Tyler pleaded guilty, openly admitting his culpability in the crime. Additionally, he divulged that he and his accomplices had been under the influence of drugs during the attack, which amplified their aggression and propensity for violence. Recognizing the severity of the offense, the judge sentenced Tyler to 27 years of imprisonment, sending a resolute message that acts of violence and aggression would not be tolerated within the community. Meanwhile, Jane and Mark struggled to come to terms with the trauma they had endured. Realizing their fortunate escape with their lives, they vowed never to expose themselves to such risks again. In conclusion, the harrowing experience faced by Jane and Mark underscores the perils associated with conducting transactions with strangers through platforms similar to Craigslist. It serves as a poignant reminder for us to exercise constant vigilance and adopt necessary precautions when engaging in dealings with unfamiliar individuals. By adhering to safety measures and remaining mindful of potential hazards, we can safeguard ourselves against becoming victims of violent crimes such as assault and robbery. My opinion: most of these stories happened because the victims were not careful and not attentive, because it is not difficult to take their acquaintances to a meeting, or at least hold it in a cafe with a lot of people, to protect themselves from the bad intentions of the perpetrator. But the victims did not do this, and in most cases greatly regretted it. Watch out for such things, or else you have a great chance of getting caught in my next video clip. Thanks for watching, and see you again.